And to those of you who've got grandparents, we say thank you and bless you because you've earned it. But it does mean more pressure will be put on the public purse. That's because there will be a smaller fraction of the population making source contributions to pay for pensions, healthcare, education, employment, insurance, and other critical infrastructure needs. These accelerated retirements are also coming at a time when there is currently low unemployment and increasing labor shortages. A 2018 BBC report found that about 40% of Canadian SMEs are having real trouble hiring new employees, a direct link between the shortage of workers and slower growth in sales, and that the sectors facing the strongest headwinds included manufacturing, retail trade, and construction. Ironically, the study also found that among the strategies used to find workers, entrepreneurs were least likely to consider hiring newcomers to Canada. Understanding the challenges around aging, retirement, and labor shortages is an eye-opening experience for many, but it's only half the story. Now, I'm not here to persuade you that immigration will solve every single challenge with our population or our economy, but it is a lever, and a big one at that. The facts are that as of today, nearly 80% of our domestic population growth, 80%, is based on immigration. And a Conference Board of Canada report predicts that that number will increase fully to 100% by 2033. So what is the role of federal government in framing the policy architecture around immigration? Those of you who are policy wonks out there, I know there are a few, know what a mandate letter is. And for everybody else who's got better use of their private time, my number one job from the Prime Minister is to grow the country by over 1 million immigrants over the next 3 years. And I'm looking forward to unveiling my plan. Right there in the letter. I'm looking forward to unveiling my plan in the coming weeks. In the meantime, I want to give you a high-level overview of last year's performance and then concentrate on a few significant initiatives which I hope will inform our discussion afterwards. 2019 was a banner year for immigration in Canada. We welcomed approximately 341,000 new immigrants, exceeding our targeted goal of 330,800 people. From this number, a strong majority, roughly 60%, were admitted under the economic class. We also maintained positive trajectories for family and refugee class sponsorships. And I want to underline that our government will always be a leader when it comes to reuniting families and resettling refugees. And to those of you who work in that space, I say thank you on behalf of our government. Occasion recently to travel to Geneva to the UNHCR's first ever Global Refugee Forum just before the new year. In fact, it was my first trip abroad in my capacity as minister. And I can tell you unequivocally that Canada is seen as setting the gold standard when it comes to community sponsorship and our work in the humanitarian sphere. I will never forget, ever, taking my daughter Michaela to Pearson International when she was just 8 years old to welcome those first few Syrian families. It was one of the most profound moments that I've had, not only as a parliamentarian, but as a father. And to be able to pass that on to our daughter, and to see her still remember it and recall it today is a source of immense pride. And I remember it was actually Diana's suggestion, and I'm always wiser when I'm following her suggestions. It's taken me some time to discover that. Thank you. The reputation we enjoy is not because of government. We owe it to our stakeholders and to the thousands of decent Canadians who roll up their sleeves and do the hard work. We owe our successes to the refugees themselves, who are not, let me repeat, not just victims, and we should not let them be stigmatized as such. They're doctors, engineers, contractors, lawyers, artists, musicians, and entrepreneurs. And when I welcomed Mustafa Ayala as a member of our delegation, it was the first time a refugee had ever been invited to the floor of the UN in that official capacity. We extended this invitation not merely as a gesture, but literally to show the world that refugees need a seat at the table if we are to develop effective new partnerships for their integration into our communities and, yes, into our labor force. And on that note, let me shine a light on a few big success stories when it comes to our economic pathways. First, the Express Entry Program. This is the fast lane for immigrants who possess the skills and experience necessary to hit the ground running. The numbers say it all. 95% of the participants have jobs, 83% in their primary occupation, and 20% earn more than non-Express Entry principal applicants. Express Entry is the flagship of our economic admissions, but it's not the only area where we're excelling in economic immigration. There's also the Global Skills Strategy. Launched in 2017, this initiative makes it easier for Canadian businesses to attract the talent they need to succeed in the global marketplace. Companies using the global talent stream have committed to create over 48,000 jobs for Canadians and permanent residents, and over 12,500 paid co-op positions, and investing more than $113 million in skills and training. Over the first 2 years of the Global Skills Strategy, 40,000 participants benefited from a 14-day application processing time. That is incredibly fast. One of the questions I want to put back into your court is, how can we significantly upscale this program, because it really is a game changer for employers? The Startup Visa program is yet another way in which we are supporting entrepreneurs with the skills and potential to build businesses in Canada that are innovative and job creators for Canadians who are ready to compete on a global scale. Originally created as a pilot, it was made a permanent program in 2018. As of May 2019, more than 650 entrepreneurs and their family members have been approved for permanent residence, and they represent about 200 startups that have been launched in Canada. And finally, Canada has created a number of highly innovative and community-driven pilot projects to address the diverse labor market needs across the country. The Atlantic Immigration Pilot is the most advanced among us, like literally the most popular one among my colleagues from that part of the country. Championed by provincial governments, municipalities, and local business leaders, this 3-year project was launched in 2017 and was aimed at ensuring the long-term retention and integration of newcomers in the Maritimes and Atlantic Canada. Since its inception, nearly 3,000 permanent residents have been admitted to date. The progress has been spectacular, and it's why we're committed to making the AIP permanent. One of the things we know about settlement patterns in Canada is that immigrants gravitate towards urban centers. But there's an incredible opportunity beyond the big city life, notwithstanding my biases, and that's why we introduced the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot. This 5-year pilot aims to distribute the benefits of economic immigration to smaller communities by testing a new pathway to permanent residence for skilled immigrants. And I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues, Ministers Monsef and Chagger, to see through the next stages of this program in conjunction with the 11 selected towns across Canada. And the last pilot I'll mention is the Municipal Nominee Program. Now, this is a new concept where our plan is to tap into local knowledge and perspectives to further align the skills of aspiring newcomers with the needs of municipalities in an unprecedented and targeted way. We are still in the pre-consultation phase, and of course, I plan to work in close partnership with my provincial counterparts and stakeholders as we prepare to engage prior to the rollout of the MNP. So when you take all these measures and you put them together, it represents a comprehensive immigration plan that is working for Canada. We're placing an appropriate emphasis on economic immigration while remaining faithful to brand Canada pathways that seek to reunite families and protect vulnerable persons. Now, I believe we're on the right track, but we can't afford to be complacent. The world is an increasingly complex and competitive place. We have an opportunity to capitalize and ensure that Canada remains a beacon to attract the best and the brightest from around the world. Governments, businesses, labor, and stakeholders have to work together to meet the challenges ahead. There are many areas for us to collaborate in particular in temporary foreign work, international students, mobility, and foreign accreditation. And I'm looking forward to having that dialogue with you. But as we do, let's agree in this room to remain strongly united in the idea that immigration is a net positive for Canada. We say it all the time because Canada is ranked #1. I love reposting those on my Facebook and my Twitter. And our immigration system has been lauded by the OECD as, quote, the benchmark for other countries when it comes to integration. I will be traveling to Germany tomorrow to talk about Canada's success in integration and sharing it with a like-minded and close friend country. At the same time, we must remain vigilant against some of the underlying ugliness. I'm reminded of the story not long ago about Sufi's Syrian restaurant on Queen Street. Last fall, the Al-Sufi family closed shop in the face of racist threats and intimidation. But almost overnight, that hate was completely overwhelmed by a tidal wave of love and support from residents and customers. And they reopened their business, and they're thriving. That's the Canada I'm proud of, and I hope you are too. In closing, Canada is built on the strength of our immigration. We face a number of challenges on our horizon. However, continued growth in immigration will help to fill our labor shortages, drive growth, create new jobs, contribute to diversity, and secure our future. Governments cannot do this work alone. My commitment is to continue engaging with you to help shape Canada's economic immigration policies for the future. Through this collaboration, we will ensure Canadian businesses and workers have access to the resources they need to compete and win in the global marketplace and guarantee that we will remain the best country in the world.